Well, hello, hello. Your host here, Cindy Lee at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. So I do apologize. I've been on hiatus due to the COVID, but I've have all these amazing guests planned the next couple months. You definitely need to tune in, and you definitely need to share Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. So really quickly, a plug for StreamYard. If you are a small to medium-sized business and you'd like to have a video podcast similar to this, simply go to StreamYard.com. And if you'd like to comment on today's broadcast, go to streamyard.com/Facebook. So both platforms marry, and we could actually see your comments and post them. So my name is Cindy Lee. I am a full-time travel agent. I am a podcaster here at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. I also have an entrepreneur podcast called Ask Cindy Connector Live. So today I have the pleasure of introducing you to my friend Yvette, and she's going to tell you all about her backstory, all about what she has going on. We're going to actually show you her website here a little bit shortly. So Yvette, tell us all about your backstory. How did you get started? What is your background? And then let's go into the national day that you created.
All righty. Well, my history is completely nothing to do with Carpe Diem Day. I'm an agile coach, so that is in technology. I was a software developer and in leadership there. But 10 years ago, I lost a friend to ALS. His name was Craig Dunham. Terrible disease, but Craig was extremely inspirational in so many ways. And one of the things is that he did not let ALS stop him from living fully and really showing joy and bringing joy to others. And it really showed me, because with ALS, it works differently on different people. But he lost his ability to speak pretty early, and that's huge. And to move, so basically he couldn't. It was like as if he was completely paralyzed. He couldn't speak. He could still smile, and as he lost his functions, I mean, when he first was diagnosed, he still was able to move and drive, and he took a cross-country trip. He was the kind of person that was living fully all the time, before he was diagnosed as well. And he just decided that he would not waste any time with negative feelings, that he was going to live what days he had left as fully and happily as he could. And again, it just was such a reminder that we don't have to be perfect to live fully. I mean, to me, it's all about living despite our challenges. And in many ways, that's just even more empowering. And so after he died, I was a big advocate. I still am a big advocate for ALS awareness, but I started Team Carpe Diem. And I really liked that the initials Carpe Diem, CD, were the same as his initials, Craig Dunham. And so I also, like him, just have always been a celebrator, someone who really likes to celebrate life. And this kind of gave me, an additional twist to it. Again, it wasn't just about doing all those fun things. It was about doing them again in spite of challenges you might have. So whether it's, and also to recognize that Carpe Diem or living fully is not the same for every person. Some people love the adrenaline rush and love to do what's classically on the bucket list. Yes, you're one of those people, the surfers and I have a little bit of that adventurous spirit in me as well. But I did a lot of that stuff when I was younger, and I started to recognize that living fully isn't always about traveling to some far off place and doing something really adventurous. It could be staying home and doing something fun with somebody you love. And I had this project leading up to my 60th birthday, which was last year. I was doing something different every week. Most of them were small things, but I wanted to do them with 60 different people. So a lot of them I did travel around. But I asked them what their passion was. And so a lot of times it was something that I hadn't even done ever before. And, you know, even if it was just like a concert of a group that I hadn't heard of, it was seeing the excitement in the other person that just was so contagious. And so I had so much fun doing this. And again, still always kind of with this Carpe Diem mantra. There is a yearly walk to defeat ALS. And so I always kind of gather up a bunch of people and do a big hoopla around that for raising money for ALS. But since I was pushing this Carpe Diem all the time, on my 60th birthday, my kids and friends surprised me by presenting me with Carpe Diem Day for my birthday. And they had, there is a site called National Archives. I think it's National Day Archives, maybe. So it's one where you can purchase, and I don't know how much it costs, but I'm sure it wasn't that cheap, that they, you know, again, kind of chipped in money to buy this day for me, Carpe Diem Day, on my birthday, February 26th. And the tribute they wrote, they said about how I was inspired by Craig. So they really, you know, again, that's who really deserves the credit. And it just was so moving to me to have that recognized. And so then I was like, okay, this is going to be my legacy now. I have to not let it just go by the wayside. And it is hard to get very much attention for a day because there are so many of them. I mean, I asked Alexa the other day on March 1st, I asked Alexa what was the special day, and she said there are 54 special days. So she only mentioned a couple, but you know, there are so many days on every day that you get kind of lost in the crowd. But I did sort of take it upon myself to, the day after my 60th birthday, I bought carpediemday.com on the domain, and I started blogging and started contacting the different sites that list the different days, and I started having a podcast and all kinds of things, really, again, trying to promote Carpe Diem Day. So we just had our first anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So cool. Yeah, and it was really fun. And I was doing these contests to try to get some visibility. And so I did a contest throughout. I did 3 contests for February. One was for Wear Red Day, and one was for Umbrella Day, and then Carpe Diem Day was the big one. And on my Facebook page, I was getting people to submit different entries of, you know, pictures and stories. And the woman who won the Carpe Diem Day contest, her name is Mciver. She submitted a story that she had lost her husband 3 years ago, and he had this huge library of over 4,000 books, mostly science fiction books. And so she had to figure out how to preserve his legacy. So she donated it, and she was trying to find people who would take this book library. And she found a nursing home on the day on February 25th, which just happened to be her late husband's birthday. And so she submitted this story, and she was contributing throughout the whole month too. She just was a wonderful, woman that I got to know through this whole thing. So I declared her the winner. We wrote up a whole story about it with pictures, and I sent her book plates for the book and a plaque for where they're going to end up being. But I loved her story because, again, it was another story of legacy and perseverance and living through the grief and finding a way to make something good out of something that was sad. And so yeah, it was perfect. She told me that I could have a book from her library, his library. Oh, wow. And it turns out the first book on the list was Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I don't know if you know that book, but
No.
It's a really, really cool book. And there's like this
Wow.
pop culture following. And there's this whole like meaning of life line in there is number 42. It's like a humor. Anyway, the story goes on because tomorrow they're having a Douglas Adams event. It's a virtual event, but we're going. We have a group that's going, and so it's kind of like just these things keep happening of the celebrations, and that's what I'm just discovering as you do these different events. You meet somebody else that's like-minded, you bond with them, and so it's about doing things, but it's also about the people and the connections. And so I'm just so excited. It all has been just a wonderful journey that's going to continue the rest of my life, I'm sure.
So tell us about the group page on Facebook. I have it widescreen for you.
Yeah. So Carpe Diem Connections is, again, a group that's out there. If you go to Facebook, it's a public group, so you'd be able to join it. And that picture there is from one of my walks for ALS. I love costumes and silly hats and all that kind of thing. And so that is, we didn't do it this year because of COVID, but again, I've been even saying that COVID is not an excuse to stop living fully. I mean, there are so many wonderful events, and so I do virtual, again, little prompts or contests. Or what I love best is not talking about the fun things that I'm doing, but hearing from other people. Again, just hearing their passions is so fun. And some people will be like, oh, I'm boring. And it's like, nobody is boring. Everybody has a story. And
Exactly.
I am loving hearing those stories and seeing the pictures that people are posting. So for Carpe Diem Day, again, it was a year of COVID, and I had a virtual party, but I wanted everybody to tell a story from the COVID year. And again, it could be a virtual party. It could be going out and just gazing at the mountains. There are so many things that we are so lucky that we can do that we take for granted every day. And
exactly.
Once again, just from knowing Craig, when he couldn't talk, I mean, I had never thought about this before, but like he couldn't talk or move, so he couldn't pick up the phone. And I used to call him every night, and it just would automatically, his phone would click on so he could hear. And so I always ended it by saying, I love you, Craig. And, then if he still had enough movement in one finger that, like, if his hand was taped to his keyboard, he could type. So one of the times on that, he typed back to me, I love you too. And I realized how much, again, we take it for granted, just saying I love you, that's exactly. Something he can't say. He can't pick up the phone and tell his kids and people because he didn't have that ability. So with such simple things that we take for granted, and I'll never take them for granted again, just the ability to communicate and talk and move and again, tell people we love them, breathe. I mean, there's just so much we have.
So important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I want to tell you about, I don't know if you've seen, because I think we've only been friends for a month or so, but I actually am a big football fan, and one of my favorite football players is actually Dwight Clark. I'll try not to. Oh, it's very emotional. And yeah, so he was with the 49ers. He was really famous for the catch, him and Joe Montana. And about 7 years ago, I actually did a Christmas in July fundraiser. One of my clients, the son was going through cancer treatment in San Francisco. I only raised a couple $1,000s, just something I wanted to do to make a difference. And he was a big 49er fan. So he has no idea who Dwight Clark is. But Dwight was more than happy to drive a couple hours with his wife, and they showed up to the event, and the young man was just so mesmerized by him. And so was I. He was my 80s crush.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's so awesome. A couple of my friends are like, was telling his wife, well, that your husband is Cindy's crush from the 80s. I'm like, well, thank you. Yeah. And sadly, a couple years ago, he passed away due to the disease. And it's so sad. He was in his early 60s that this disease has taken over. And a lot of people in sports. I mean, there was a kid in LA. I think he was with USC and maybe the Rams. I can't remember his whole story, but he was in his late 20s, just got married and got ALS.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a tragic
so
disease.
Sad, tragic.
And it is a lot of people in sports, they are thinking perhaps concussions contribute.
Yes.
And but the Ice Bucket Challenges of 2014 really got a lot of awareness and money towards ALS. So they are making a lot more progress these days. And one of the interviews I did recently, another person I got very involved with because of my interest in awareness of ALS was somebody named Steph Corden, who also had ALS. He started a group, ALS Never Surrender, that is making huge progress in data gathering so that they can, it used to be that they didn't have a way to gather data of patient progression, and now they do, thanks to Steph's contributions. And he did this again after getting ALS. And people, again, if if they can do it with so much challenge, it just shows, what we can do when we don't have those challenges, or whatever challenges we do have. Again, don't let that stop you from living your dreams and making a difference in this world, because we all can to the day we die. So.
And exactly. So we have about 3 minutes left on the show. So one of the things I want to talk about is kind of a little bit more on my story. I don't know. It was maybe several years. It was a while ago, maybe 15 years ago or something. And I ended up getting a medical issue. And ever since that day, I have never let one day be taken for granted. Telling people I love them, just reaching out to random Facebook people that I built friendship with, or through YouTube, or just people that I've connected with, and not have it be about business. Just calling them and letting them know that I appreciate them and I'm very grateful for their friendship. And we just don't know what people are going through, number one. And number two, we don't know when our last day is going to be. So every time you talk to someone, make sure that the last thing that you said to them is something nice, and it added a little sunshine to their day. So what if you passed away and you said something really horrible to someone? That's the last thing they're going to remember about you. Well, I agree that, and even if both of you see each other again, I mean, again, just leaving people with a feeling of happiness is so important. And that is how we all can make a difference, again, with every conversation we have. So good for you. So you need to come along next year and enter the Carpe Diem Day contest for next year, because that's exactly the message. And what I'm promoting is, we all have challenges, but we can't let that stop us. And, just as you're doing, if anything, that should spark us all the more to live every day fully. So, so thank you for what you're doing and spreading that word and giving lots of people opportunities to live fully and live their dreams. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go over some days for today, and you tell me what you think of each one of them. Okay. Blueberry Popover Day, Mario Day, Pack Your Lunch Day, and Registered Dietitian Nutritionist Day. What do I think of them? I love all the special days, and I love themes and prompts and all that kind of thing. If it's a food, I usually want to go make it the blueberry. But, I have to say that sometimes there can be too much of a good thing, because when I was trying to do them every day, I was like, got to a point of like, I kind of feel like just having an ordinary day to day. Exactly. So now I was doing them a lot in February again, because that was part of Carpe Diem Day. This month, I'm sort of picking one big one, and that's Purple Day, March 26th, and it's for epilepsy. So that's coming up. I did look on March 1st. There was Refired
not retire today. So I got kind of stoked about that because I'm sort of semi-retired. So yeah, there are just so many fun days out there. It's exciting to look at them and plan some kind of quirky celebration. How about you? Which of those are you doing? Are you playing Mario?
Oh no, actually, I'm just looking to see what's going on. Well, this is a really cool day. Actually, is March 12th, because I have a gratitude business. It would have been good if I thought about it last week, but March 12th is Plant a Flower Day. We have like little seeds, like forget-me-not seeds you can send to somebody. Scallops Day. Let's see. Oh, this next weekend. Ooh, March 13th, Coconut Tart Day. Earmuff Day, Good Samaritan Day.
Ooh, Good Samaritan is a very good one.
Jewel Day, K9 Veterans Day. I'm definitely going to post something about that. Open an Umbrella Indoors Day, so that's the 13th.
Oh, that's fun.
Children's Craft Day. Learn about butterflies. Pi Day, P-I.
Oh, I do pi. I know the first 100 digits of pi. I have that memorized, and on Pi Day, I have to make a video where I show off about that.
How about this one? Write down your story day, and of course, daylight savings time. Write down your story. I'm definitely going to do a video about that.
Yeah, there's so many fun ones. So I love watching. I love seeing the creative things that people do on the different days. So yeah, have fun and keep on seizing the day.
Another thing I always talk about is I met this guy on vacation years ago, and one of the things he said to me is your mess will become your message. He goes, never forget that. He goes, one day you're going to make that powerful, and you're going to teach people. Although that kind of sounds negative, but a lot of people do struggle, and so you have to use your mess as your message, because it's going to get better and better. You just have to tell yourself what you want. Like for COVID, a lot of people are complaining all last year, complaining. So what is the best part of every single day of last year?
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
The best part of every single day? I don't know. What is your best part?
We woke up.
We woke up. That is a good one. And you know what? I'm such a geek. Again, I was in software development. So I used to try to do virtual parties back before it was like in vogue. And so so I kind of think, again, I can't wait back to get everything back to the way it was. But there's a lot of advantages to virtual meetings. I mean, you can have people from all over the world join, and you don't have to stress out about what food you're serving. I mean, there's a lot of good things about virtual parties. So like I said, I am a software geek. So I do miss, again, how it used to be. And I have total compassion and for people who have struggled and suffered. But I am not one of those. I feel very lucky for all that I've been able to do, including during this time, and just really being excited that now there's light at the end of the tunnel. I was talking about, I get my first vaccine tomorrow, so I was like, this is and I'm having my Douglas Adams party, but I'm like, this is my way of having shots at, a new shots routine for parties is the vaccine. So yeah, with the spring and the longer days and the numbers going down, there's a lot of optimism in the air, and so I'm happy about all of that. But I do know that many people have struggled big time, and I don't want to discount that. I know that these are real tough times for so many people. So.
Exactly. And it's all about the mindset. You have to just tell yourself what you want. Like I've gained so much weight with the COVID. And so now I'm working out, I'm eating better, and I'm trying not to crave the serotonin, maybe the good serotonin, but not all the refined sugars and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, you don't look like you looking. I don't know how you used to look, but you certainly don't look like you need to lose weight. So, But yeah, I know it can go either way. Since I haven't been eating out, I've actually been eating a lot healthier since I have during COVID. And so, yeah, I think I do always kind of want to try to reframe things, and that is one of the things as an Agile coach we do. It's about Agile. One of the big things about Agile is adaptability and uncertainty, living with uncertainty. And part of uncertainty means you have a high level plan, but you realize it could change, and you look at how you're going to adapt for that new reality. And so, we've all had to do that during this period and find what is working and how we can take advantage of those things. So
great. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to put you in the green room. Is there any last words you'd like to tell my audience?
I just thank you so much for having me. And come join us, Carpe Diem Connections on Facebook.
Okay, well, we'll see you right back in there. I'm going to close out. Well, there you go, guys. Make sure that you follow her on Facebook. Check out her Facebook page. That's facebook.com/groups/Carpe Diem Connections Group. And definitely check out her website. You could actually go to the stream here and you can see my website as well. And check out my page on Facebook, The Bucket List Vibe Tribe. Also, if you want a upcoming vacation, get away for a couple days, check out bucketlistcoachtravel.com. This is Cindy, and make sure to send 5 calls of gratitude and show gratefulness. We'll see you here on the other side.